This is the Brave New Coin Crypto Conversation, hosted by Andy Pickering.
Hi everyone, Andy Pickering here. I'm your host and welcome to the Crypto Conversation, a Brave New Coin podcast where we talk to the people building the future in the Bitcoin, blockchain and cryptocurrency space. Hello everyone, Andy Pickering here, and we have a very good show for you today. But before we get into it, need to shout out our new sponsor, Nexo. Yes indeed, are you ready to grow your wealth with the world's leading digital assets institution, Nexo? Well, you should be ready, because you can earn up to 12% on your digital assets with Nexo's high yield savings account. That's right. So treat yourself, treat your crypto, and treat your fiat with the industry's best crypto and fiat services, which include compounding interest paid out daily. There are 18 available cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, various stablecoins, and many more. And 3 fiat currencies are accepted, the euro, the pound, and USD. And Nexo has up to $375 million worth of insurance across all custodial assets. Top-ups and withdrawals are available at any time, and there are 0 fees for using the Nexo Earn Suite. So, are you ready to start earning? Of course you are. Simply go to nexo.io, and of course that is spelt NEXO.io. And now it's on with the show. My guest today is Victor David. Victor is co-founder and CEO at Epik, a global agency that connects brands with video games to offer unique and immersive digital experiences. Hey, welcome to the show, Victor.
Hi, great. Thanks for having me.
Hey, it is great to have you here, Victor. So I think before we delve into the wonderful world of NFTs and dive deep into the Metaverse, let's just learn a little bit about yourself and your background leading up to you founding Epik. So yeah, just let's have a short version of your career path.
Okay, sure. I'm a programmer from the late 90s, early 2000s. And I guess my big claim to fame was, building low-level socket middleware for the biggest telemarketing company in North America. And from there, I went on to, become an entrepreneur. I never thought I'd be in the blockchain space, but then fast forward into 2018, and NFTs were actually coming out. I was actually there in Dallas in the ERC 721 code review. I was there from the ground zero, and as things started to emerge, and because of my experience and being a part of the original .com, I guess, era, everyone was really excited about NFTs, and people wanted to do art. People wanted to do what you see right now, user-generated content. People wanted to do a marketplace. The OpenSea guys were coding it up beside me. And I really went out there and said, I'm going to swing for the fences, and I'm going to build the biggest enterprise ecosystem and focus on games and brands and games. And it was very high risk, and it was just a passion of mine. I was a diehard, video game player. I was addicted to like World of Warcraft, and at that time, digital items meant more to me than real life items, and more than a BMW in the driveway. So I said, I really want to take this. This is really going to transform the gaming industry. And the next step after the gaming industry would be metaverses. Let's give it a stab. And fast forward, it was basically a passion project for a very long time, but we got a lot of traction. We went from 10 companies to 30 companies to now being the largest company working with game companies, with over 250 game companies. Over half of the top 25 game companies in the world are our clients now, and we put brands into those game companies, and we focus on the digital merch of these crossovers. And then, the next evolution of that is integrating with them to do NFTs. And we're the only NFT company to do any deals with AAA game studios and to implement any kind of NFT solutions with them. So that's kind of the origin story and how we kind of got here.
Yeah, absolutely fascinating, Victor. And I'd love it then if you could maybe just expand a little bit on how the Epik ecosystem works, and I guess even what the kind of the business model is. Because what's so interesting, of course, is this is it's just a brand new world, right? So everyone is kind of literally building and making it up as we go along, and all these exciting new opportunities are unlocked, right?
Yeah, great question. So that is the huge differentiation between Epic and everybody else. We are B2B focused, and in the end, the consumers do interact with us, and there is some type of interaction with them. But our clients are primarily businesses, and that was our strategy from the beginning. And so in that vein, we're the only ones that really work with all the other marketplaces, the biggest exchanges, the biggest game companies. So we're primarily B2B. So that's our business model. And by working together, you can think of Epic as this massive distribution force. So if you're a brand and you'd want to get placed into not just NFTs or into digital, we're the go-to company to do that. And not only is it, the traditional model would be you would then put your brand into one game, maybe like a console game, and find out the results of that interaction or that licensing yeah, agreement, 3 years later as a post-mortem. What Epic specializes in doing is digital merchandise and short-term collaboration crossovers. So now all of a sudden you could have, let's say a Disney Star Wars movie coming out soon. We could put them into 5 different games simultaneously, all in different geographic regions, and run that campaign for like a month where they're getting promotional placement as well as the opportunity to drive revenue via digital in-game items. And then now we can actually tie those to also NFTs. So that's kind of our business model right there.
Amazing. And I suppose the example I think of when you're talking there, Victor, is Fortnite, right? Because Fortnite is obviously one of the biggest actual evolving metaverses right now, right? With
Absolutely.
millions and millions of players. And what's fascinating about Fortnite is that they have been able to do what you were just talking about in terms of bringing in characters from across all these different brands and companies and movie universes, whether it's Spider-Mans and Batmans to, well, just, I mean, how long have you got? You probably know more about this than I do. And that's when things start to get interesting, when you've got all these characters that wouldn't normally interact with each other. Suddenly they're in the same environment. And what you're talking about is what happens when you, I suppose, unlock the abilities of NFTs and extrapolate it out. Things start to get really weird, but really interesting, right?
Absolutely. I mean, you touched on a ton of great things there. And that is exactly, you're absolutely correct when you talk about Fortnite being really the leader in this space, initially doing these interactions and these crossovers, and it was kind of like a novelty thing, and everyone else kind of dismissed it as novelty in a way as well. But that was our go-to example of how a game can increase retention and excitement, but always only proposing content and IP that their own player bases wanted. And we pioneered that as well with Epic in terms of bringing that to other games, not just the biggest Goliath game companies like Fortnite, but we gave that ability to the smallest game companies as well. So the whole spectrum, and that's kind of how we grew. And it turned into this idea that it was, only a niche thing for the biggest companies in the world, into something that everybody now wants to kind of participate in, including now NFT marketplaces. Initially it's all user-generated content, which is still going to be massive, just like YouTube is user-generated content. But there's going to be a place for premium licensed content, and that's really what Epic is going for. And yeah, when you bring in interesting, to segue into what you're talking there about the items, that really is the thesis of Epic, which is we're a digital merchandise company. We are the largest licensing agency putting brands into AAA games, but also it's all about digital items, digital merchandise, whether it's in-game items and NFT items, and how this can tie across all the different metaverses, as well as, digital items are kind of what I had an inkling feeling of when I was talking about my obsession with an MMO. World of Warcraft, was that these digital items meant more to me than physical items. And that's kind of what's happening. And there's this transition right now where that's becoming a real sticking point with younger demographics. And now, basically the idea behind Epik is that, these digital items now represent everything like physical items do in the real world, which is, class, identity, membership, and all these things, like physical things, like souvenirs. You can imagine, you can look back at a souvenir and remember your trip, to Greece. Now people will go look at their digital wallets, something Epic's obviously building, and then they can go look and they remember that game they played when they're in high school, and then they can look at the games that they remember that their journey of the games that they played when they're in college, and then now they don't have to spin up the entire game. They can just go look at basically their history of digital items. So that this is where digital items then becomes a focal point of, can one platform rule them all? Absolutely. Maybe we might get to a point where one of these metaverses emerges and it becomes the Facebook. Coincidentally, Facebook is also doing their own metaverse, but I think there will be a battle for a while. And during this battle, I think that the idea behind Epik and what we're trying to do with giving people ownership of their items and giving them access to their items without having it necessarily tied to the games, and being able to, bridge all this together and have this layer of interconnectivity with these items is kind of what is really interesting to us.
Yes, indeed, Victor. And look, I did want to talk to you about what's happening at Facebook, right? Because I think a lot of people, anyone in the kind of watching the NFT news cycle, will have seen Mark Zuckerberg's comments. I think it was last week when he said that basically in 5 years' time, he wants Facebook to be seen as not a social media company, but as a metaverse company, which is, it's quite incredible to hear Zuckerberg say that, but it makes a lot of sense. But I guess the worry there is, there's a famous quote by, what's his name? Tim... the CEO of Epic Game, Tim Sweeney, right? So I've got it here. He said that the metaverse is going to be far more pervasive and powerful than anything else. If one central company gains control, then they will become more powerful than any government and be a god on earth. So that's Tim Sweeney, kind of the builder of Fortnite, if you like. And he's right, though, isn't he?
Well, that's kind of funny because he just raised $1 billion to build an Epikverse. So
yes,
maybe he's talking about his own future there. I think that, I think the Facebook idea, and I love actually that more and more companies are coming in, because it doesn't necessarily mean that will create. It doesn't necessarily translate. So what we've just talked about there is Facebook. We've talked about Epic Games and their success, but we've also, didn't mention Amazon, who has now done their own MMO RPG, really big one that's come out. And there's always other people like, Blizzard, who did World of Warcraft, the other big players out there. But when you look at the big tech companies and you look at their foray into gaming, it has never, no, I wouldn't say has never, but it is going to be a challenge. It's not an automatic win for them. So it is scary about what Mark Zuckerberg is doing. But at the same time, it's not quite so easy. And I believe this battle, and I don't even consider it really a battle. It's a normal translation. So if you're to look at the metaverse as almost like not so much one gaming platform evolving to become the metaverse, but more like the next evolution of the internet, where everybody is kind of living online. Everyone has their own unique, particular tastes, and has that freedom and ability to cater to whatever they desire to search or to explore or to learn or to spend their time doing. Now, for one company to be able to encompass all human beings' entire desire, it would be very, very incredible for that to be accomplished. So I feel like Epik, in terms of our company, our idea is to work with all the metaverses. And I believe that for a while, there will be many. And if not forever, there will be many different metaverses. And working on the interconnectivity and creating this fabric behind the scenes that gives users an experience to be able to switch from Windows to Mac or to Linux, or from Xbox to PlayStation, or to to us as more like metaverse infrastructure is more interesting. But I definitely think that, these Goliaths coming in there, it is initially scary. But if you look at Facebook, they've been into it for a very long time, with their VR and strategy, for the past decade. So I mean, you can kind of see where this was going. Now, I do think Epic is going to put up a big fight. I also think Amazon will put up a big fight. I think a lot of these big companies will put up a big fight, but the experts themselves, the game companies, Final Fantasy is not that big, but it's growing. These are all other people that entities and corporations that have a lot of experience cultivating the community behind just the platform that can offer everything. So it's really, as a person who's played and been, I guess, quote, addicted to MMORPGs, it's basically about people. It's the social activity behind it. That's where Facebook definitely has an advantage. But in terms of, can they create an experience beyond that people want to, that will encapsulate everything that they want to do, that'll be the biggest challenge for them, I think.
Yeah, fascinating thoughts, Victor, and I completely agree with you. I think you're right. There are going to be a lot of different environments, right? And I'm sure you've read the essays by Matthew Ball, right? He's written prolifically about the metaverse, and he talks about how his kind of I guess high-level mental framework for what a metaverse is it's this idea that it's an environment that it never resets or pauses or ends. It just kind of continues indefinitely. It's a living experience that exists consistently and independently for everyone in real time. And that can be both in digital, physical, private and public networks and experiences and economies and open and closed platforms. So all of those different parts of the future world are parts of the metaverse. But the key, and you kind of alluded to this as well, is we need this idea of the crypto term, the blockchain term of interoperability for all these environments to talk to each other, so that we can carry through things like NFTs, be able to wear our digital avatars and play with our digital swords across all these different environments and have it all make sense, right?
Absolutely, absolutely, and that is the biggest challenge in front of us today. I feel like, well, for some companies, like I said, the Facebooks and such are trying to create that all-encompassing experience. But for our company, for sure, that's our biggest challenge. But we feel like we have a really good head start. As mentioned previously, we have the most clients, over 300 video game company clients, and over half of the top 25 game companies as our clients. And as this kind of organization that works with everybody, our ecosystem, as an outsider, we're not our own game company, and we're not our own social network platform. We're not our purpose is to serve our clients. I think that strategy has really resonated with them, and that's why they choose to work with us, not just because of the size of our network, but because our business model is really in service to them, and to create this interconnectivity in their best interests, in order to make everything a win-win situation. So going back to your scenario about Travis Scott, we're looking to build a world where Travis Scott, imagine if that could happen, not just in Fortnite, but in Fortnite and Roblox and Minecraft and all the other big games that are out there. And why would they do that? Well, number one, it kind of levels the playing field. It's not that everybody needs to go and everybody that's in Fortnite that would watch Travis Scott is going to watch Travis Scott. Is it going to bring in new users? These game companies mostly do this kind of stuff for not new user acquisition necessarily. That's a plus, but usually it's for retention and engagement within their own communities. And we are building a world where, if you can imagine, it's almost like a movie theater. We could then distribute this experience across all the different metaverses. So the brand wins. So Travis Scott wins because he gets to sell more tickets, right? I mean, he's happy about that and he gets more exposure. Not only that, he doesn't know what games he's most popular in. Epic can now provide this data and say, okay, well, you're really popular in Fortnite. You're also popular in Roblox, but not so much Minecraft, et cetera. So then he can decide, where he wants to focus more of his energies or focus on more energy on the places that he's not so popular. The metaverse companies are happy because now they get to compete on even ground. They also get to offer this new content and experience, and then they only need to worry about what their primary thing to do is, which is to keep them engaged, their own users engaged based on their own social communities that they're building. So it's not a winner take all type of environment. So they're also very happy about Epic being able to distribute these experiences everywhere. So that's where we talk about kind of like a win-win situation. And then the users themselves are, the gamers are super happy because, they get to now enjoy it with whatever community they want. Let's say you're a gamer and you have various different communities and you have an affinity to this one community where you'd want to watch this particular event. Then you could go over there. You could go look at it and say, hey, this platform, they get really excited about World Cup. I want to go watch it over there. This community over here is really good about this. And you can now, as a gamer or as a participant, be able to attend these events or partake in these experiences at your own choosing and not be, forced to go to a specific destination. So that's kind of the way that Epic is first bridging that. And once we do that, and then we have, I guess, the rails, so to speak, of a presence within every single metaverse, then we can now communicate within Epic, and thus by communicating within Epic, we are then interconnecting everybody, if that makes sense.
It does. It does. Absolutely fascinating. Again, Victor. And what's interesting as well about NFTs, I suppose, is, we had this massive explosion of interest in NFTs sort of, I guess, around the start of this year, right? When, the trading volumes on all the marketplaces just exploded, and we saw, the Beeple auction and things like that just took NFTs right to the forefront of public consciousness. But most of that was based around digital art, right, and memes and a lot of some really nice art as well. But it was, digital art. Beeple again is the good example. But you guys at Epic are sort of more focused on gaming. I think you do everything, but I guess gaming is kind of where it all sits. Do you think where are we at in terms of this kind of, I guess, cycle of adoption for NFTs, and when do gaming NFTs start to have their moment?
Great question. So I think that the funny story is one of my mentors is a guy named Hank Rogers, and he's the founder of Tetris, or one of the co-founders. There's
wow,
Hank Rogers, yeah, and he actually had dumped a lot of personal money, interesting story, into his own avatar-based company. I want to say in the 90s.
Wow.
And he, I think he might even, I mean, he's very wealthy. I mean, he might even be paying for it to still go on today. But he believed in this vision, and a lot of the old school, and from there, I've met a lot of the old school Japanese kind of network, and they've always believed in this as well. It's all about timing. And I think what's funny though is that even Hank and looking at other partners like Second Life, et cetera, we're starting to introduce brands into Second Life. That's actually coming out this week. But what's interesting is that user-generated economies are definitely important, but consuming content is a little bit different than buying items and merchandise. So even if you look historically at The Sims and all these other games that have been user-generated economies, they haven't flourished as well as they could have. Now, is that going to stay that way in the future? No, I definitely think that it's going to grow crazily over the next decade. User-generated economies are going to flourish. However, the mainstay as it is today, and the easiest bridge to cross for most consumers, is to still make consumer purchase decisions based upon premium licensed content, which is what people do nowadays, which is what anybody does when they buy a Nike hat, or Under Armour socks. I mean, there's no difference between that pair of cotton. Well, I mean, there's some kind of difference, but I think people understand that people have an affinity towards brands and branding, and that's kind of where Epik really felt like we're a crypto company first and foremost, absolutely, that happened to also become the world's largest agency because I'm a programmer. But the funny thing is that our focus has always been on the premium mainstream kind of messaging, and kind of how we had the technology to do an NFT marketplace in the very, very beginning. We had our first smart contracts doing an NFT marketplace and B2B, hardcore, fully integrated game company, NFT management, where you can buy, sell, transact NFT items in your in-game economy in 2018. Way too early. Like, it was just like light years. And I was there pitching it to game companies and brands, and which is how we became the largest agency putting brands into games. Funny enough. And I was pitching them this blockchain solution, and they didn't understand anything about blockchain, and they didn't understand anything I was doing. So if you can look it up, I mean, I'm there doing at the biggest licensing shows in the world, talking about the future of blockchain, and also at all the GDC E3s, everything like that. And our goal at Epik has always been about mainstream, and about more of a mainstream adoption curve, and that's where. To go back to answer your question, that is why we kind of focus on premium licensed content. It's not to in any way devalue user-generated content. I love user-generated content, and I think it has an important place. And it was easy for artists. I think the messaging in the beginning was to say, "Hey, this is cool. I can do my own art and put it up for sale, and I can make like 3 ETH. This is really cool." I couldn't believe that would happen. So that was a great way for everyone to kind of believe in it. But Epik has been doing this since 2018, kind of when it wasn't hot, and as it became hot right now, it was really exciting for us because it's something that we've been focused on anyway, and we'll be doing this whether it doesn't become hot or will become hot, because our traction with businesses is really where we feel like the long game is, and our ability to basically integrate with more and more AAA games, and give their users access to NFTs and this new experience. That's really going to add more people to blockchain, which is why we take that alternative approach in terms of working B2B. A lot of NFT companies are highly competitive. They also always look at Epik as a competitor, but I mean, we always try to take some time for them to digest and understand that we're here to help everybody. I mean, we're here to make the market bigger. We're not here to compete for the same slice and elbow each other out. We're here to bring more people to blockchain and more people to NFTs, and to expand the overall pie.
Very, very nice, Victor. Well, look, as we slowly start to finish off this part of the podcast, maybe, just anything that you're willing to share on, I suppose, Epik projects that might be in the pipeline or on the drawing board, or NFT trends that you see emerging across the next 12 months or the next hype cycle. What's coming up in the kind of the short to medium term?
Yeah, sorry, to go back, exactly. The trend is exactly what you mentioned previously about gaming. So I kind of had this idea, we've been working on this since 2018, and I kind of knew as things became hot, and everyone would kind of go through the same thought pattern that we have been living in for the last 4 years, pretty much, is it goes to NFT marketplaces, then it will go to gaming, and then it will ultimately end up in the metaverse. And some people have just leaped ahead, like Mark Zuckerberg, because he's a visionary, and is now and same with other people that are pumping the metaverse right now. And but the in-between stage is gaming, which you're starting to see right now. GameFi is what people are calling it, where people are focusing on generating income from playing, crypto games and making money from NFTs, play to earn. all these kinds of things. And, I also feel like, us being the leaders and the only guys to do integrations with AAA games. So we did an integration with Asphalt 9, which has been downloaded over 1 billion times, with Gameloft. It's a massive company, a super popular game. We're the first guys to really prove out real data and behind the assumption based on statistics or surveys or focus groups that gamers are going to want to adopt NFTs. I mean, that's pretty much a mantra that's been repeated, and people will say, oh yeah, they're going to adopt it because they adopt everything really quickly. They're savvy, et cetera, et cetera. But who really had that data? I mean, who really knew? I mean, there's no big crypto games. There isn't, period. I mean, they're big in terms of they're successful, sure. But are they big in terms of our main clients? No, we just had a press release come out yesterday from one of our longstanding partners, Garena. They're the #1 mobile game in the world. We did an amazing deal with them that came out. They have 100 million daily active users. 100 million. That is just incredible. Now, there is no crypto game that has 100,000, I'd probably say, right? So, I mean, we're talking about a different level. And as we did our integration with Asphalt 9, what that means is the Asphalt 9 users would then have the option to play and win and earn NFTs. And over 1 million people decided to go and explore the world of NFTs. Now, this is real data, and this is important. This is now groundbreaking. This is now saying, look, this is the theory. This is the idea that mainstream gamers, that you don't know their background, you don't know their knowledge about crypto, you don't know their knowledge about anything tech. Are they going to be interested in NFTs? And it's specifically labeled inside of Asphalt 9, the Epik NFT Challenge, play and earn and win an NFT. And that'd be the primary reason why anybody would decide to click that. And over 1 million people have participated in that event, in that challenge, in order to win NFTs. So I think, us being the leader in that space, gaming and NFTs is definitely here. If you look at even in terms of crypto projects, when there was a downturn in the crypto markets recently, and Bitcoin was down at whatever 30,000, gaming related crypto projects had increased in value by 10 times during that time period. Now, that's some interesting data as well. What does that tell you? It tells you that people believe in crypto projects that are related to real life businesses, real life use cases, where there's actually more users and new adoption. And the markets believe that these are going to be important places that are going to have an impact on the future, which is why their value had increased during that time period. So I definitely feel like the next trend is gaming and blockchain. And hopefully Epik is leading the way there, which we kind of already are with mainstream gaming and blockchain. So to give you a quick rundown, as mentioned, we just recently did a release. Garena did a release with, we just put in the #1 DJs in the world, or #2 DJs right now. They've been #1 the last couple of years, into the game, the #1 mobile game in the world, Free Fire. And then we're doing a collab right now that's also coming into Second Life. So we put brands into there, and NFTs are coming. All these NFTs are coming. And we've now done, in the span of launching our marketplace in the last month, we will be reaching 4 different major game company integrations with NFTs and announcements. So I think definitely feel like gaming and blockchain is the future step and the intermediary step. Sorry about that. And then the next thing will be the Metaverse.
Absolutely fascinating. Again, Victor, thank you for sharing your thoughts there. We do indeed live in exciting and interesting times. Well, this feels like a good place to go to a very quick break, and then we'll come back and we'll have some fun. We'll finish off with the Crypto Conversation Hot Take Round.
Grow your wealth with the world's leading digital assets institution, Nexo. Earn up to 12% on your digital assets with Nexo's high yield savings account. Treat yourself, your crypto and fiat with the industry best crypto and fiat services featuring compounding interest paid out daily, 18 available cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, stablecoins, and more. 3 fiat currencies are accepted: Euro, Pounds, and USD. Up to 375 million insurance on all custodial assets, top-ups and withdrawals available at any time, and 0 fees for using Nexo Earn Suite. Start earning at nexo.io. That's nexo.io.
All right, we're back and I'm with Victor David. Victor is the co-founder and CEO of Epik, the agency that connects brands with video games to offer unique and immersive digital blockchain and NFT experiences. And well, Victor, I like to finish each podcast with a quick round of rapid fire crypto conversation hot takes. Are you up for it?
Let's go.
All right, just want your hot takes here, Victor. Just quick, snappy answers. Here we go. Where would you say that you sit on the Bitcoin maximalist to multi-coin opportunist spectrum?
Oh, I have to pass on that one. I'm a fence sitter.
Hey, that's a valid answer. That's okay. All right. Well, Victor, what would you say is your firmest conviction crypto opinion?
NFTs are the future of consumer merchandise.
I love it. All right. Well, Bill Gates famously said that we tend to overestimate what we can accomplish in 2 years and underestimate what we can accomplish in 10. So look, whatever you like here, blockchain, gaming, NFTs, Epik, what does it look like in 10 years' time?
I would feel like Epik is a success when my son can pull up on his phone all of his digital items across all of his games, and every game has some element of blockchain into it, whether it's a small percentage or a large percentage.
I love it. Great answer. All right. Well, sci-fi author William Gibson said that the future is already here. It's just not evenly distributed. Can you think of an example of the future being here right now, Victor, but most people just aren't really aware of it?
I definitely think Mark Zuckerberg putting a big halo around metaverses. We started our metaverse initiatives and interconnectivity last year already. So I think the metaverse is here. You're starting to see big companies raise money, and the metaverse is definitely falls into the short answer there. So if I was to answer that really quickly, the metaverse.
Yes, indeed. I love it. All right. Well, time to get a little bit weird. Time to zoom out. What do you see as the long-term future for the human race? Do you see dystopia or utopia?
Utopia.
Excellent. Good answer. Can't argue with that. All right. And the final question, of course, is, Victor, what is your favorite science fiction book, film, show, or universe?
I would have to say actually fantasy. So I'm kind of a Dungeons and Dragons kind of guy. I would have to say, the Forgotten Realms and Dragonlance. Those are my 2 babies right there.
Very nice. Very nice. All right. Well, that is a good place and a nice way to finish off. Thank you very much for your time today, Victor. I've enjoyed talking with you. I've enjoyed going deep into the metaverse and learning all about what you guys are building at Epik. So look, please finish this off by telling the people where they can go to find you on your various platforms and where they should go to learn more about the Epik ecosystem.
Great. Yes. If you want to check out all the newest developments in terms of what we're doing in the NFT space, you can go to epikprime.com. If you're a brand or a game company looking to work with us, you can go to epik.gg, and you can find me at Twitter at vdavid, the letter U. And that's mostly my personal thoughts though.
Well, thank you for your time, Victor. All the best and bye for now.
Great, thank you.
All right, guys. Thank you very much for listening. That's today's show. Don't forget to subscribe to the Crypto Conversation in whatever podcast app you are using. And if you want to get at me, just drop me an email, andy@bravenewcoin.com. All right. Thanks for listening, guys. This was the Crypto Conversation for Brave New Coin. CEO.